Right. The other thing, in order to help my students to understand concepts, theories, because what I teach is all theoretical based. So there's so many theories. By the time they complete the third theory, they forgot all about the first theory and the second theory, and they get mixed up. So the only way for me to help them make some sense is by asking them to do mind map. Now, my mind map wasn't the normal mind map. What I did with my students was, you know the carton, the cornflakes carton? You don't throw it away. I cut it. It's blank. I gave everyone one piece each, and I asked them to write whatever word that they can remember about the theory. So they wrote. And before they wrote, they have to say what it is that they're going to write. So provided no one repeats the word. So everybody had a go. Some of them had to open the book right there and then because they can't remember any word because all were taken already by other people. And once they have completed that, what I asked them to do was to do a mind map on the floor. Now one person come to the front, put it down, and start arranging how all the theories are actually connected. And you see here is actually a few students opening up their books because they have not read. And I know many of you have this problem too, right? When you go into your classroom and you say, I want you all to read chapter 1 and chapter 2, they always come back and say they didn't read. The same goes with me. But because I had this activity, all of them were reading, but they were reading with either speed reading or it's all reading and memorizing because they have to do it. There's a purpose. They have to read in order to solve the problem. Right? So solving the problem is actually to do the mind map. In terms of reflection, long time ago I had books. These are actually, the exercise books. They wrote their reflection. This was in 2002. I had also students who actually, if they want to ask questions, they will refer to the book because they want to make sure that they are doing the right thing, answering the right questions. And as years moved, when technology is in place, the reflection has now moved into the Padlet, no longer in the book form. But I still have my 2002 students' books in my room. That's why some of them, when they come, they cheekily say, this is a room of a professor because it's so smart. Macam penuh dengan buku. Padahal it's not buku. I kata, hello, I know professors who are very, very clean and proper. This is not a room of a professor. This is a room, someone who cannot get detached from their students' work. I appreciate some of the students' journey of learning as they go along. It's nice to look and wonder what happened to them. It's just that I don't know what happened to my students after they have left the university. So this is another example of students collaboratively solve problems. So they were arguing. No, it's supposed to be this one first, no, that one first. So they were arguing. And that was the lesson. They were trying to understand the bigger picture of the whole theory in order to make sense of what the course is all about. And the mind map now is moved into the Padlet online. And when we had the MOOC, we also had the thing in the MOOC as well. So again, if I were to explain to you what my concept of my innovation is actually the notion of placing mediation as central in my learning and teaching. So I explain mediation refers to the intervention, i.e. teaching provided by the mediator to enrich the learning processes by engaging more with the learners. So what do? They combine creating a supportive learning environment that challenges the learners yet facilitate their learning. So basically you challenge but you facilitate the learning. So if I could say, the theory, my theory says that there are 4 types of mediation. The first one is environmental. Second is cognitive, affective, as well as metacognitive. Cognitive and metacognitive, Kozulin and Howard has already done that. My contribution during my research was just the environmental and affective. And basically what it means by environmental is when you design the task in such a manner that the students have to think The students have to solve the problem. The students have to be engaged in the learning process. And cognitive is when you attend to and support the learning of a concept through challenging and promoting learning thinking. So you can actually do prompts, questioning, explanation, and providing suggestion, and so on and so forth. Affective is when you actually tell them that they're doing a good job. But not just telling them good, but telling them good at what? I like the way you did this, so that they're very clear about what is it that they are right and which ones that they need to influence. And under affective mediation is also all the global values, enculturing global values. Metacognitive is where not only they're looking at promoting their self, but also other regulation. That means other peers helping each other, because what we are proposing here, proposing here is the fact that collaborative work is important. That people need to work in groups and collaborate and in a team. So these are examples of how an environmental mediation is. We had lessons not only in the classroom, we had lessons in the library, because our library is beautiful compared to our classes. So I made my students go to the library and we had classes, and at that time I felt that I was in overseas. We had all the infrastructure. Sometimes I have classes in UTLC because we have very good learning spaces as well. And we are fortunate in a School of Education that we have one learning space. And apart from that, WhatsApp is also a learning space where students start sharing resources and information, and they were explaining to each other. So that's an example. For example of metacognitive is when I gave them to do critical analysis of a critical review. So they had to complete certain things that they need to do, and they have to tick where they are, whether they are on the track, they need help or whatever. So this is actually part and parcel of inculcating metacognitive mediation. I know you can't see this. This is actually to show you how I constructively align my CLO, my teaching strategies. These are all the PLO. That's the CLO. And that's how I design my activities to fulfill the CLO as well as the PLO. Right. So that's an example. Another example. This is an example of how students were interacting via MOOC. And I have to say, my PGDHALT students were far better, more confident compared to my another postgraduate class. If you can see here, they are all confident to show their faces. Here, they're very reluctant. So from there you can see already. But in both classes, my students enjoyed the sessions, especially when we have videos and whatever. In the MOOC, they say I can listen to you explaining whatever chapters for many times. I can go and cook and come back and listen to you again and again, rather than sitting in the classroom hearing it once, and the tendency is for you to forget. And this is not the final chapter, yeah. The rest is actually about your leadership and all that, which I'm not going to show you. This is the testimonial, where you have to show your students' performance, the impact of your students' performance, which means your students' grades, as well as the quantitative as well as qualitative. So if students actually say that they're actually enjoying themselves in the classroom, that can also be that can be evidence as well. Yeah. So basically, when I say I do not teach, I mediate learning, which is actually my little caption. This is what I mean. I design the task in such a manner that they're activating the CLO. I also devise cognitive strategies or maybe techniques, scaffolding techniques, in order for them to understand what they need to do. I ask them to I build confidence among them so that they have not just have lots of fun, but also that they are learning. And finally, reflecting and improving their ways in their thinking as well as working, especially because they are going to be teachers or already teachers. And what I wanted was to create the ripple effect. This is a very recent, this one is not in that picture, yeah? This is what I'm doing right now. I have to teach undergraduate. After 15 years of not teaching undergraduate, they have asked me to teach undergraduate again. But I truly enjoyed it. Suddenly, I'm brought back into this seronok mode. Because postgraduate, they're all adults. How much can you be enjoyable in the classroom? But undergraduate, you can go beyond. So I asked them to do some activities that help them to understand what it means by information processing theory. The students actually came up with that activity. That means different groups are doing different activities, so they're playing, but at the same time, what they're doing is actually they're trying to understand the theory of information processing theory. Yeah. I know everybody don't like mobile phones in the classes, but these students are using their mobile phones for the good. They were actually learning. They had to do some activities using the mobile phone, and not only that, they were doing it in collaboration. That's peer learning. So I do still have the normal face-to-face presentation, but not just from students to me, but also to their friends. Peer learning, where the battle of the mind begins, because when students present their work to us, they're always afraid. And their friends are afraid to ask questions because they don't want their other group to sabotage them later. So everybody will not ask questions. But in this kind of environment, they are constantly asking questions because they know, if I ask you questions, I'm learning, I want you to help me to understand. So they are in a very non-threatening situation, so they are able to challenge each other if they don't think that it's correct, whatever that their friends are doing. So this one, when they were presenting this and I was taking a picture of them, they were debating actually. They were negating the fact that the mind map was done in such a manner. So they were challenging their friends. So students take charge of learning. Yeah, it's not me taking charge. They learn from what they discovered from their friends, but of course we have to do debriefing. Is that there are many ways to understand things. And they realized, and another thing that they also learned was the fact that not just one way is the only way. There are so many ways to solve the problem. And that's what our world is all about. It's not just one answer. There's so many answers to solve a problem. As a mentor, because now for PGD HLT, I have to become a mentor for one of my mentees. So again, I introduced the notion of you need to have teamwork, and she did this. My mentee did this with her students, and they were enjoying themselves. As a practicum supervisor, again, same thing. Students who were under my supervision, they had to do a lot of activities, which they keep complaining to me. Tapi kita masa dulu tak belajar pun. But I don't take that as an answer. So sorry lah, dia pesilap mentor. So I had to train them on the spot, in situ, about what kind of activities. We discussed about what kind of activities that can be done. So they went back and they planned and then they executed, and there are lots of improvement. And as a trainer, of course, all this information that the conviction that I have about what learning should be and what teaching should be is also shared with my participants. And Alhamdulillah, together with Prof. Rosna and Professor Madya, Dr. Tengku Faika, we also run the learning engagement and motivation module in ACAP. But of course, this one has been halted with the new director. No more teaching and learning strand, and what's left is the leadership strand. And together with Dr. Abdullah, I saw him just now, Associate Professor Dr. Abdullah, I conducted with him collegial management as well as coaching and mentoring for excellence in ACAP, where even during training, the use of Web 2.0 are used, collaborative activities were done, mediating learning is still taking place. But I'm not just as a trainer, I'm also as a participant, and I don't stop learning. And I think what our TNCA mentioned, Prof. Hughes mentioned, that we as an instructor, we must never forget that no matter what we are, professor ke apa ke, we're actually teachers. I remembered coming back from an International Congress of Psychology conference. I didn't know that I was sitting beside Prof. Reuven, who's actually very well known for emotion area. He's an expert in emotion. And I thought he was pakcik mana entah pergi spending time in Cape Town. So I just asked him, so what do you do? And he said, I teach. Before that, he asked me, what do you do? Oh, I'm a lecturer. And when he said, I teach, that was the biggest lesson ever that I got from my trip all the way to Cape Town and back. That never forget that what you can call yourself whatever, but at the end of the day, you teach. But of course, in my case, I don't teach. I mediate learning. So, yeah, I didn't get it in 2015. But if I got it in 2015, it would be given by the Minister of Higher Education then. But Allah was nice to delay this. And it's right, Allah's delay is not Allah's denial. Because in 2018, I got it from the Prime Minister. And of all the Prime Minister, from Tun Mahathir. Ooh. So, Alhamdulillah. And immediately after that, I don't know whether they knew this or again, it's Allah's way of, right after, the next day, I had a keynote speech in UKM to talk about inspiring the mind. So they had two things lah. One was inspiring the mind, and they were like also asking me questions about how I got my AAN. So coming back to AAN, there are many categories here. Anugerah Ahli Akademik Harapan, if you're 40 and below. If you're 40 and above, well, too bad. But if you're 40 and above, it's still not too late for Anugerah Pengajaran, Anugerah Seni dan Kreatif, Anugerah Inovasi dan Pengkomersialan Produk, Anugerah Penerbitan Buku, Anugerah Penerbitan Makalah Jurnal. But in order for you to get Anugerah Tokoh Akademik Negara, you would probably need to be at least 60. Because thus far, looking at previous award winners, they will all have served many years and influenced the education in the country. So yeah, simplicity brings barakah. I know friends who said, I'm going to be there, we all pun nak juga the 50K. I know the AAN brought attention to everybody when they saw, hang on a minute, how many zeros are there? From the 5,000 to the 50,000, yeah, correct. Simplicity I forgot to tell you that for every year, for every category here, you will get 50,000 plus trophy plus sijil. Anugerah Tokoh Akademi Negara, you're almost there to be a quarter millionaire. It's 200,000, kan? Right, 200,000 with a sijil and trophy. Trophy sama je. No difference. No. Anugerah Tokoh Akademi Negara, trophy lagi berat. Yeah, I remember. So, simplicity brings barakah. Use the wealth Allah has blessed you wisely. You will be held account for everything. I'm reminding myself with that 50,000. But also reminding myself that all of us should think, change, grow. We cannot stay at what we are. Even now, even if you get an AAN award, no, there will be things that you need to learn, things that you need to change, things that you need to improve for the sake of your learners. So, and when something is worth doing, it is worth doing it well. I like that. And life is not about being rich, being popular, being highly educated, or being perfect. It's about being real, humble, and kind. That's a reminder to me. And to be a great teacher, you must love your subject, love your students, and be utterly determined that they shall learn. So we cannot say to our students that they're hopeless, they have got no hope whatsoever, they are patutnya kena gagal dan diberhentikan. No, we have to make sure that all our students are on board with us, that every child can learn, there is a capacity for them to learn. And whatever it is, it all begins with your niyat, the intention. Be good, do good, stay good. Because I like this as well. Imam Syafi'i says, semua manusia adalah mati kecuali orang-orang yang mengetahui. Dan semua orang yang mempunyai pengetahuan sedang tidur kecuali orang-orang yang beramal baik. Dan orang-orang yang beramal baik tertipu kecuali mereka yang ikhlas. Maksudnya kalau kita tak ikhlas dengan apa yang kita buat, semua amal-amal kita tu hilang. Tetapi kalau ikhlas, insya-Allah, not only kita dapat award here, which is just 50,000, but we're going to get even more in you know where. Dan orang-orang yang ikhlas sentiasa berada dalam keadaan bimbang. Kenapa? Sebab takut riak tadi. Bukanlah maksud saya yang tadi kesan riak tu ya, not the ripple effect. Riak yang betul-betul terasa diri dia yang hebat. Ya, kita tak hebat. Yang hebat ialah Allah. So just keep doing good. You do not know where it will lead you, as I am here now, but it will definitely be a sweet surprise. Yeah. So when there is love, nothing is too much trouble, and there is always time. Why am I saying that? Because doing the teaching portfolio for the DTA and the AAN needs you to have a lot of love. And when there is love, nothing is a bit of a trouble, and there is always time. On shoulders of a giant, that was a giant indeed. I'm just there at his shoulder. I even got one picture with the Tokoh Akademik Negara. Yeah, it would be extremely brilliant if I can be that one day. Inshallah. Thank you for listening. Be somebody in the eyes of Allah, even if you are nobody in the eyes of people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.